unless you have a better definition. In fact, actually, no. Why don't you offer one? Since this entire conversation has been us going around in circles, so why don't you offer one? What is critical race theory's core assumptions, and how do those manifest as it analyzes public policy? I think I have an idea of what it is, but you tell me.
You want to? So if you want Crenshaw's definition, what she states is that there's no canonical set of doctrines to which we all subscribe, and what she says is, well, we're motivated to answer these similar questions. The two questions I gave already at the beginning, in the absence of Jim Crow type segregation and discrimination, how is it that race and racism continue to play such an important role in American life? Critical race theorists ask that question, answer that question. And there's no canonical set of doctrines to which they all subscribe.
Okay.
And I tried to give you some that many would agree with, and those were the Martin Luther King examples. And there are more.
Critical race theory. Let's just do this socratically so that no one's being confused, no one's being angry. Critical race theory exists in front of a backdrop of the atrocities of the past, Jim Crow, and which they believe are still happening in the present.
Well, I mean, they're not claiming that Jim Crow
impacting the present.
Okay, still impacting. Yeah. Okay. So critical race theory exists with the backdrop of Jim Crow and institutionalized oppression against whom? Marginalized people, black people, who? Let's get to the core of this, man. Who?
I mean, whoever it existed against. In this case, yeah, black people, and then a few other racialized minorities, but black people.
Is it fair to say that white supremacy is a core point of analysis for critical race theorists generally?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So there is a value judgment attached to the idea of analyzing white supremacy. We're getting somewhere because there are already a few assumptions that this is unearthing. To say, even if it's not a canonical set of doctrines, there are inseparable.
An assumption, it's history.
There are hold on. Critical race theory is not history. It is using history to analyze something that's different.
Yeah, that's what
it's different. Well, no, that's not what you said. You have to be very precise with your words. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it is a method. Let's get through this. We're doing good. It is a method that exists with the backdrop of Jim Crow and how those impacts from Jim Crow.
There are different methods of critical race theory.
Let's stop with the interruptions.
Semantics, man. It is something that exists. It is something that exists within the backdrop of Jim Crow, right? Are we right so far? The backdrop of Jim Crow, and it wants to analyze how, dating back to however long black folks have been oppressed, according to the critical race theorist, those impacts continue to happen in the future. And in doing so, it appends a value judgment to the idea of white supremacy. Is this correct?
I think everybody agrees that white supremacy
is bad.
I think we all agree that, right?
No. Okay, not just a value judgment. That's a little bit of incoherence on my part. It appends a significance to white supremacy as a focal point of its analysis.
But not via assumption, via investigation.
It appends the significant. It appends the significant. I didn't ask you if it was evidence or not. I'm just saying, what does this theory assume? It appends the significance.
As you said, assume there.
It appends the significance of white supremacy as a focal point to its social analysis. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So critical race. Okay. So critical race theory is this thing. I don't want to say method or whatever. It is this thing that likes to analyze questions of race and oppression based upon past historical events whose impacts are still going on, and it uses white supremacy as a focal point by which to understand the depths of these events. Is that correct?
But I mean, what are you talking about when you say white supremacy? You're talking about a political system of white domination over non-whites, right?
Sure, let's
define white supremacy for us, Christian.
Okay.
Well, you guys already agreed white supremacy, but sure, let's define white supremacy. White supremacy, I guess, as I'm not sure if the critical theorists would agree with this, is this idea that white people, whiteness.
It's not an idea.
White supremacy is not an idea.
No.
Let him go. Let him do it.
Well, no. You guys are wanting to interrupt every single. I'm trying to divvy this out because we're not going to get anywhere unless we understand what the heck we're talking about here. And this is the philosopher's duty. We don't want to get into a Euthyphro problem where we're saying all kind of things.
So
okay.
Please.
All right.
What do you mean by white supremacy?
Okay. Well, I mean by white supremacy. Well, actually, here's what I think critical race theorists mean by that, because my definition doesn't matter, because I'm trying to understand the ideology, the method, the movement, whatever it is, as it is. So my definition doesn't matter. I'm trying to approach this in the conceptual realm. We're breaking down to the physical realm very soon. So white supremacy is the idea that white supremacy is the idea that in the halls of power and domination for a very long time, white folks have ruled against black folks through racist means to keep them oppressed, or at least the white elite in those particular structures have done that, correct? And this, of course, the derivatives of this idea are ideas of how whiteness is a social currency, and how, whiteness and things of that sort, meld with our actions. Sometimes people want to be white adjacent, so they may not necessarily recognize the ills of racism or the ills of that and this, because they're being white adjacent. So this is correct, right?
Yep, I think that's all.
Okay.
Accurate, yeah.
Okay. So this is not just a movement without any definition. This is an idea, a method rather, that uses a particular controlling. It uses a particular controlling variable, white supremacy, and it uses a backdrop of analysis history to get to certain conclusions. This is a
controlling
method.
variable.
This is a method. Yes.
You're adding a lot of terms in here that are very specialized, and I don't think it helps with the understanding.
Is this incorrect though? I mean,
we're trying to use a bunch of terms that were not helpful. But I mean, let's come back to the I feel like it's better to stay in the concrete, and I think that.
Okay, so hold on. First, we didn't define critical race theory enough. Now, when we try to define it philosophically, we're being too abstract.
I wanted to give an example of white supremacy that would help clarify the definition.
But that is secondary to the definition. Okay, go on.
I just think that we generally agree with you. Sorry, Gothix, you go ahead.
No, I'm just holding on to an idea ages ago, and I wanted to circle back to it again.
Let's do it.
Okay, so you guys had